Manchester United won the FA Cup in 2024 and earned just under £4 million for lifting the trophy. Finishing in the Premier League's top four next season could be worth more than 20 times that amount. Modern football has reached the point where finishing third can be more valuable than winning silverware, because Manchester United aren't really chasing a Champions League place anymore. They're chasing access to a completely different financial universe. For most of modern football history, this wasn't even a conversation worth having. Between 1996 and 2014, Manchester United missed the Champions League exactly once. Qualification wasn't success. Qualification was normal. It arrived every spring with the same certainty as season ticket renewals and summer transfer rumors. Then Sir Alex Ferguson retired. The Premier League became richer, rivals became stronger, and suddenly Champions League football transformed from an expectation into an objective. That uncertainty reached its lowest point during the 2025-26 season. United missed European football entirely. The club paid Ruben Amorim and his coaching staff £16.7 million to leave in January. Hundreds of jobs disappeared as part of wider cost-cutting measures under the new ownership structure. Then something unexpected happened. Michael Carrick steadied the season. United climbed back into the top four. And overnight, the financial conversation around the club changed completely. Because qualifying for the Champions League doesn't just bring money, it unlocks options. The first layer is the obvious one, UEFA money. Simply reaching the Champions League phase guarantees clubs tens of millions of pounds before a ball is kicked. Think of it like a signing bonus. You receive it simply for walking through the door. Wins add more money. Draws add more money. Progressing through the knockout rounds adds even more. A serious run into the latter stages can push total UEFA income beyond £80 million. But this is where football finance starts behaving differently from what supporters imagine, because that £80 million is rarely spent directly. Suppose Manchester United sign an £80 million striker on a 5-year contract. Football accounting does not record an £80 million cost immediately. Instead, the fee is spread across the contract length. The accounting cost becomes £16 million per year. Football calls this amortisation. It's the same principle as a mortgage, spreading the cost of a house over decades, rather than demanding the entire amount on day one. Suddenly, Champions League qualification isn't buying one player. It's helping fund several players at once. It creates room under spending rules, room under wage budgets, room to make mistakes that smaller clubs cannot afford to make. And that is only the beginning. Champions League football creates what economists call a multiplier effect. £1 arrives, several pounds follow behind it. A Tuesday night against Real Madrid isn't simply another fixture at Old Trafford. It's premium ticket pricing, corporate hospitality, higher merchandise sales, international visitors filling hotels and restaurants around Manchester. For one evening, Old Trafford stops behaving like a football stadium and starts behaving like a luxury resort during peak season. Sponsors react in exactly the same way. Sponsors don't buy goals, they buy attention. The same shirt, the same sponsor logo, the same football club. But one is seen by millions watching a Champions League night against Real Madrid. The other is seen by a fraction of that audience on a Thursday in the Europa League. To sponsors, those are not the same product. They are not even the same advertising space. The transfer market bends around the competition too. Some players simply refuse to move without Champions League football. Others arrive only if clubs compensate with larger salaries and signing bonuses. Missing Europe rarely appears as one dramatic financial hit. It appears as dozens of hidden taxes spread across an entire squad-building strategy. Then there are the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. The easiest way to understand them is as football's version of a household budget. Clubs can spend heavily, but over time, they cannot lose more money than the rules allow. More revenue creates more spending capacity, which means Champions League income doesn't just add money, it expands permission. Permission to spend, permission to invest, permission to rebuild faster than rivals operating under tighter constraints. This is where Manchester United become one of football's strangest businesses. Their commercial machine is powerful enough to survive outside the Champions League longer than almost anyone else. But their scale is exactly why they need it so badly. Old Trafford needs redevelopment. The squad still requires rebuilding. Debt created 2 decades ago still demands interest payments every single year. Large football institutions consume enormous amounts of money simply to remain where they are. Smaller clubs can shrink during lean years. Manchester United cannot, which is why a Champions League place was never really worth £80 million. It might be worth an additional transfer window. It might be worth accelerating a stadium project. It might be worth another year of patience during a rebuild that otherwise runs out of time. The Champions League used to be where Europe's biggest clubs proved they belonged. Increasingly, it's becoming the mechanism that makes sure they stay there. Manchester United didn't just qualify for the Champions League. They qualified for better players, better contracts, more flexibility, more patience, and perhaps most importantly of all, more mistakes they can afford to survive. Do you think the Champions League has become too important financially for modern football? Subscribe to the Football Ledger for the money, incentives, and business decisions shaping football long before they appear on the pitch.